Well, good Tuesday evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I'm still here recovering from this cold from hell, so hopefully I can get through this. I've actually restarted this video a couple of times because I'm trying not to cough into the microphone, but it has no rhyme or reason. It has no mind of its own. I guess the cough is trying to photobomb you guys. It is Taco Tuesday, and I hope all your taco dreams come true. I don't know if I'm getting any tacos with this cold or not, but, you know, I would love to have me some great tacos. So one thing that I observed more this year than any other year, going out to training camp and being out there for several days, it was a great experience being there and looking and evaluating players and things like that. What I noticed, what I saw with my own eye was different sometimes than what I actually saw put into the print and the media. And sometimes things would be shaded to the more positive side. And today I think we got a great example of why that is in the media, because if you are one of the Dallas Cowboy writers, and maybe this is where you look at David Houseman, who no longer is that close to the Cowboys, now working for Fox Sports, seems to have gone a little bit more off the reservation and saying that the Dallas Cowboys aren't doing their quarterback any good by what they're doing. Other teams are trying to get more weapons for their quarterback. The Cowboys have lost theirs, and they're not trying to replace them. And, you know, some people have taken, notice of that difference from where he was before and where he is now. Well, today I was down in here and I saw Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee, man, that's one punter that has made it big. I mean, seriously, the best thing he did was stop punting and creating his own show. But he was talking about Scott Abraham, ABC in Washington, D.C. sports reporter who was interviewing Carson Wentz. And he went pretty far over the line, so to speak. In fact, let's go to the clip here and we'll discuss it just a little bit here, because he went balls deep on this interview with him.
Funny either. Let's get to this video, though, that caused quite a ruckus. This is from the Washington, D.C. area with Commanders quarterback Carson Wentz and a man named Scott, who's a local news reporter in Washington. If you haven't seen it on the internet, we will run it now in its entirety. A lot of conversation, obviously, following.
There's been kind of a narrative out there here in training camp that you've been a little inaccurate on your throws. Consistently Scott. Inconsistent has been a kind of a terminology. How would you assess your performance in training camp, and is that characterization fair?
Yeah, I mean, for one, it's camp. I think I didn't know that, so thank you.
Yep.
But
I know, because I know you told me you don't read that stuff.
At the same time, I'm my biggest critic, so I come back after practice and I'm kicking myself over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays.
Real talk here, Carson. It's been well documented. Philly didn't want you.
Oh no.
Indy didn't want you.
Jeez.
Do you think this is your last chance to prove that you can be a starting quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't really think about all that stuff. For me, I'm playing the game that I love. And
Damn!
I have the most confidence of anybody in myself to deliver, to play at a high level, to be a part of something special here with this team. And so I don't put all that pressure on myself. I don't put, people can feel that way. People can say what they want, and I have no issue with that. That is what it is. But for me, I don't think in those terms.
So that obviously caused a little bit of a stir, so much so that Jason Wright, president of the Commanders, put out this tweet. Jason Wright, president of the Commanders, says, "Thankfully, Carson demonstrated grace in class in response to this pompous, unprofessional mess. I recognize you have made a living on childlike provocation, but it needs to be called out. Don't expect special access, and good luck building rapport with the guys." At Scott 7 News. Now, Jason Wright, former NFL player, been in a locker room before. First player to ever become a president of an NFL team. I fucking love Jason Wright. I'm appreciative of Jason Wright. Now, what Jason Wright said here, I think with special access, probably was saying, hey, Scott, you're going to request a little bit extra maybe someday. It's probably going to get turned down. Then he also followed up with saying, good luck building rapport with the guys. After seeing this, they're going to think that you're going to try to get them. And if you ask for a request for somebody to do an interview with you for your local show, that they are at the facility, out of practice, special media credentialed access type point, you're probably not going to get anybody, is what Jason Wright was alluding to, I do believe. Trey Wingo is not happy about this.
He is.
Trey Wingo is not happy about this. Trey Wingo is the chief trends officer.
There it is.
CTO at Caesars, formerly of ESPN. He has now moved into the digital space. He has a commercial on TV now. Looks good, looks handsome. He responded to this entire thing with a tweet that said, when is it a good idea for the president of an NFL team to take to Twitter to go after a reporter? Never. I wrote about it for Bulletin. Subscribe below. Now, 2 retweets, 3 quote tweets, 5 total retweets at the time we found this and saw this. I did appreciate Trey Wingo sticking up for the reporter and sticking up for reporting as a whole, but I also appreciate the fact that Jason Wright's sticking up for his fucking guys for the first time in the history of the NFL. You never see this. Media have been able to do whatever the fuck they want, and teams always say, like, that's their job, that's their job, that's their job. I can see why Trey Wingo, because he had a situation happen with a coach, I guess, in 1986. He wrote about it in there, where he asked some questions that the coach thought was disrespectful. They talked, got past it. Jason Wright doing this, he didn't think was the right way to go about doing it, and also acting like we won't allow you to have access is quite a threat to a guy that was just asking real questions. I think obviously the answer lies in the middle. His delivery could have been much nicer. There's ways to get answers from people that you know, people that you don't know. Obviously, he and Carson don't have a relationship. So Carson Wentz handled it well. Jason Wright said, hey, why are you being a fucking prick? And Trey Wingo took a stand. I mean, quite a situation where everybody feels like they're exactly right, and probably none of them are.
Yeah, so, again, I don't know how, honestly, the questions were legitimate questions because everybody else has asked them. You just don't ask the guy to his face. Excuse me. Per se. That's kind of bold to be there, with basically saying Philadelphia didn't want you, Colts didn't want you, is this your last chance? And then following it up with another question. So, there's tact and ways that you ask questions that probably could have been a little bit different. Maybe you go through and say, after some problems in Philadelphia and the Colts, how do you see this as a way of turning your career around and changing the narrative? That sounds a lot better than saying the Eagles didn't want you, the Colts didn't want you, and so on. And this is where this is the first time you've seen actually an organization go through and basically blast the reporter. I think more times than not, what it would be is, if you had a situation like this, we're just not going to acknowledge you at all, and we're not going to let you around, and we're not going to let you ask questions, or we're not going to point to you to ask questions. And so this is the delicate dance that the reporters have to do. So I don't blame the reporters for the questions that they have to ask, because they understand that, hey, I might get a great, soundbite here this time. I may be able to really get them on edge, but that may be the only thing that I ever get going forward. So it's interesting. But hey, shout out to Scott Abraham for, definitely going point blank, toe to toe, and asking the questions that nobody else is asking directly of Carson Wentz. And actually stand up. Shout out to Carson Wentz for actually, not getting pissed off and getting up and walking away and actually answering the questions. Wow. It's getting crazy out here, guys. But hey, we're 23 days, 1 hour, 49 minutes away from kickoff of the 2029 season. You see Jobu? He's ready for a big sub. I'll see you guys later.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win. When you start telling me it doesn't matter, then retire. Get out. Because it matters.